We're going to move to cyberspacewar.com, a blog I started just over a year ago to cover what's going on in inner space and outer space, covering most tech-related stories. Cyberspacewar.com. We have on here the list of ugly headlines that we call DEFCON 99, the September 9th defense condition, if you will. Sex, spies, and vulnerabilities. Craigslist unexpectedly pulled their adult services listing. We get this story from Ars Technica, and we put up the post. They replaced the word adult with a little black box that says censored. This ties in with their battle over the adult services, even though, of course, most courts have ruled that sites and businesses aren't held responsible for things that their customers do. This may have been a way to force the issue even wider. CIA money behind Wi-Fi positioning system. You've heard of GPS now. How about WPS? How amazing would it be if you could walk into a Taco King and order that mid-morning bacon taco meal with Mountain Dew Big Gulp from your mobile device? Just imagine, as you approach the restaurant, a menu pops up on your screen. The phone makes suggestions and helps you supersize your order before you even set foot inside. This advertiser's wet dream is about to become a reality thanks to WPS, Wi-Fi positioning system. And this infrastructure, pioneered by a CIA front company called Skyhook, formerly known as Quarterscope, and currently being implemented by several other intelligence-connected companies, including Google, Apple, and Navizon, which of course is supplying data to Microsoft. Google pays $8.5 million to settle their Buzz privacy invasion suit. That's from the Register, and if you may recall, out of the blue, Google decided to launch something called Buzz and basically absorb your email and all your contacts and create a social networking portal. Didn't go over so well. But our other Google note, and this comes from Blacklisted News, and it comes from a video released from Google, but interestingly enough, I noticed it before I saw an article about it, and that would be Google getting more creepy and more omnipresent with their new instant search. That would be, as you're typing, it's filling in your search. Some websites do that, but now the god of websites is doing it. Court okays warrantless cell site tracking. This from Threat Level. Federal appeals court said Tuesday the government may obtain cell phone site information that mobile phone carriers retain on their customers without a probable cause warrant under that pesky Fourth Amendment. The NSA says the U.S. must secure the internet. That's from ubergizmo.com, and that ties in with all that we've discussed and all the things with the rise of cybercom and all the calls for an internet 2. But like many other situations, it may require a catalyzing catastrophic event. Threat Level again reporting that Homeland Security, cybersecurity watchdogs missed hundreds of vulnerabilities on their very own network. So we can't even really trust the folks who say they need to keep us safe. And that's what gives folks the credence to say, oh, well, they're incompetent. They could never pull off an event. Cyber Task Force passes mission to Cyber Command. This from DefenseTalk.com. After spending the better part of the past decade defending the Defense Department's computer networks, the Joint Task Force Global Network Operations Command cased its colors. The task force was deactivated in a ceremony at the Defense Information Systems Agency, DISA. The task force operations and personnel now fall under U.S. Cyber Command at Fort Meade in Maryland, of course, the home of the NSA. Funny how that works out. Global research getting into U.S. military hackers and internet spies, as we always tell you. They've already written it down. They want to fight the net as if it were an enemy weapons system. They wrote it down in their information operations roadmap. Our last note on this DEFCON, sex spies and vulnerabilities, couldn't really find a better place to put it. Because once I read it, it's not actually a tech thing. It's not. I thought it was a hologram. Canada unveils new speed bump, the optical illusion of a child. Officials in West Vancouver, Canada, there's Vancouver again, apparently aren't satisfied with the driver slowing properties of traditional speed bumps. On Tuesday, the town unveiled a new way to persuade motorists to ease off the gas pedal in the vicinity of the Pauline Johnson Elementary School. A 2D image of a child playing, creating the illusion that the approaching driver will soon blast into the child. According to Discover magazine, the pavement painting appears to rise up as the driver gets close to it, reaching full 3D realism at about 100 feet. Its designers created the image to give drivers who travel at the street's recommended 18 miles an hour enough time to stop before hitting pavement patty, acknowledging the spectacle before they then continue to safely roll over her. You have to wonder if the designers of the speed bump of the future considered that drivers might become conditioned to disregard pavement patty and her imaginary cohorts, creating something similar to the boy who cried wolf. Couldn't such a conditioning reduce drivers' cautions if a real child should come across their path? So keep an eye out for pavement patty. That is, if you're unfortunate enough to drive around. The other story from Cyberspace War we get from space.com. 2 asteroids buzz the Earth on the same day. 2 objects zoom between Earth and the Moon's orbit. We do have a photo for you. There is also a video in its sort of time-lapse way that shows this trajectory. 2 asteroids that swooped past Earth Wednesday may have caught the attention of the public, but events like these are not actually rare, NASA says. This is the first time we've seen 2 combined within a 24-hour period, but that's probably because we don't know everything that's out there. Probably because we don't know everything that's out there. Will we see some kind of space event? Are they prepping us for some kind of disclosure? Again, I'm not a sci-fi junkie or a big UFO guy, but the meme is there. And some of the ideas that I've heard from folks, and probably from places like Red Ice Radio, is much in the same way they crank up the controls in incremental fashion, slowly turn up the heat, that would be the way to sort of unfold some sort of extraterrestrial type of situation. First by saying, there's a weird, non-natural moon orbiting, so we didn't make it, so who'd put it there? But it's dead, so don't worry. Then we'll say we found little microbes, and that's a little easier to deal with. I suppose we just want to be aware and pay attention of things like a fake rapture, a Project Bluebeam event, an Orson Welles War of the Worlds type psyop. But quickly now, we'll hop over to foodworldorder.com. My other sister site, going for almost 2 years now. And again, this covering one of the main things that we can actually have some kind of control over, what we put down our gullet. And my work and where I live, and the more I pay attention, realize how fundamentally important this is. As we've said time and time again now. Once people realize we can make our own media and make our own food, then we can start to cut the middleman out. So whether or not that's going to come naturally or we're going to be forced into it remains to be seen. Having said that, let's get a story from the UPI. Studies show pollination down with the bee decline. The decline in the world's bee population has been accompanied by a drop in pollination critical to the world's food supplies. University of Toronto scientists found the first evidence of a downward trend in pollination and a possible link to climate change, of course, as a cause. And we have links to the press release, and I don't believe you can actually read this full report. They can just give you the abstract for free. Bee numbers may have declined at our research site, but we suspect that a climate-driven mismatch between the times when the flowers open and when bees emerge from hibernation is a more important factor. This is sobering because it suggests that pollination is vulnerable even in a relatively pristine environment that is free of pesticides and human disturbance, but still subject to climate change. Now, whether or not this is man-made climate change or the fact that the sun is heating up is just another realm to keep us arguing and debating and ratting on each other and tearing each other apart on our little class divisions. But quickly now, our last post on Food World Order. It's the 9-9 Binge and Purge. Magic mushrooms and crispy snacks. FoodSafetyNews.com gets into the food safety shell game, and that would be this Senate Bill 510, the Food Safety Modernization Act, with elements of Codex-type control coming into the food arena that, to put quite simply, they want to get rid of the natural and give us the fake. But something that Food Safety News points out, the food safety shell game, is the elephant poop in the room, and that would be one of the main problems in the factory farm situation, is the shit. USDA serving Monsanto's interests again. That's from GMWatch.org. Gender bender chemical atrazine widely contaminates U.S. public water supply. We've covered that story. Here it is again from naturalnews.com. Franken salmon is safe to eat. Superfast salmon fish approved by scientists. That's from the Daily Mail. Bill Hicks would like this positive drug story from usnews.com. Magic mushroom hallucinogen might help cancer patients. Huh, really? You're saying that something natural that grows here and that was put here by your God creator is actually meant for us to use and help and learn and grow? Huh. And what's the best way to close out any of these things? Because very obviously, the straits we're in are quite dire. But in order sometimes to not cry, you gotta laugh. So how about a new crispy snack cracker to ease the crushing pain of modern life?
It's the Onion Radio News. A new crispy snack cracker will ease the crushing pain of modern life. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The dull, all-consuming ache of present-day existence will be slightly alleviated when Nabisco's breakthrough T.C. McCrispy's line of crackers arrives on supermarket shelves today. Available in regular, Garden Ranch, and Zesty Cheddar, the new crackers will flood consumers' bodies with fat, salt, and starch to produce a pleasing sensation of warmth and nourishment, momentarily freeing them from a relentless, crushing sense of profound grief. Mel Krychak is Nabisco's Director of Corporate Communications.
Our tasty new snack cracker will, if only for a few lovely moments, significantly lessen the hideously bleak and empty torment of modern life that festers in every solitary soul.
Though the standard 8-ounce box of T.C. McCrispy's contains 12 servings, Nabisco expects most despair-riddled consumers to eat an entire box in one sitting. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Oh, crispy snack cracker. If only it were that simple to ease the crushing pain of modern life. That's, of course, the Onion, and that's maybe a nice, easy way to wrap up this episode that has dealt with a lot of heavy and imminently weighing situations. Again, as we glance back to the breaking news, San Bruno fire levels neighborhood in gas explosion. New York imam now says he has no plans to meet with Terry Jones. This book-burning meme goes back and forth. This is a holy war psyop. It ties in with the Council on Foreign Relations and the heads of Fox News pushing this Ground Zero mosque story. And they love to play us all against each other. So I'll touch on that one more time, but quickly. At the end of this episode 186 of MediaMonarchy.com, September 10th, 2010, let's look at a couple of the creepy customers coming to MediaMonarchy.com in the past week. From Los Angeles, California, we had DreamWorks Animation. From Fort Riley, Kansas, we had the headquarters USAISC. And lastly, out of the District of Criminals, we had the National Defense University. Those are just some of the interesting visitors in the past week to MediaMonarchy.com, and I implore you, if you're only listening to the podcast or you've only maybe seen some of these web videos on Ustream or on YouTube, I implore you to subscribe. feeds.feedburner.com/MediaMonarchy will get you everything, and you won't miss a bit. And I think it helps lay it out to let you do more research on your own. We invoke Plato's allegory of the cave all the time. We're in a cave. We think the reflections on the wall, the shadows are real. Folks have gotten out of the cave and are trying to come back in and tell us it's fake. And we're all in a process of trying to get out of that cave. So We all must get together.